Hello, this is Ashley Reed with GamesRadar, and I have played Assassin's Creed Unity.
And this is Lorenzo and I have not. We didn't actually do the review. That was Luis Blaine.
One of our people over in the UK, but we have got a chance to look at it ourselves, and we've had a chance to talk with her, look at her review, so...
And so I got a few questions for you, Ashley, since you've been playing through the game a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So what's Assassin's Creed Unity all about? Like, what's the setting, and who are you this time?
So Assassin's Creed Unity is set in revolutionary Paris, which I think most people picked up from the excessively gory French Revolution trailers and everything. You play as Arnaud Dorian, who is an assassin who really has no interest in the revolution that's going on around him. He's in it for personal reasons. So his tale is a tale of revenge that's centered amongst this revolution that's going on. So you don't get some of the problems that have happened in previous games where it's so centered on the historical aspects that it feels like the assassins kind of did everything, which was kind of dumb. And here's the revolution, this is what's going on. You get a lot of that context, but you also get a character-driven story, which works really well for this game.
Okay, cool. So with the Assassin's Creed, there's always that massive world and a huge place to explore. So what were your impressions with like Paris and all the cityscapes this time? You're not in this open ocean like you were in AC4, so it's kind of back to the roots a little bit. It
is, but weirdly enough, Paris honestly feels bigger than all of the Caribbean for Assassin's Creed 4, which apparently it is, just like logistically speaking, it is larger, but it also feels larger because it's like you'll run around like one district of Paris for a while. It's like, oh, wow, this is really big in detail. And I can go inside all of these buildings and through all these neighborhoods. Wow, that's huge. Oh, my God, this is one of like 12 districts. It's completely massive. And it's all really, really detailed. You have all these really interesting setups. You don't have kind of that same city issue that you ran into with some of the other Assassin's Creed games. It's all really varied, and you get those huge, well-known landmarks like Notre Dame. You don't have the Eiffel Tower because that wasn't built yet, but you get some of the things that are really recognizable, and they make a big point of that when you do your synchronizations. They don't just do like the little spin around anymore. It's like whoosh, like for 2 miles all the way around. So you get a big look at this big, huge space.
Yeah, and when I was starting off, I pulled up my map and I noticed all of these little icons popping up on my map as I was going to the synchronization points. Can you talk a little bit about like what the side quests are like, and is it more of the same kind of stuff where you're walking around eavesdropping on people and tailing a bunch of guys and then executing them? Like, how have they changed that in Unity?
Thank God, no. Some of the side quests that people liked the least have been removed, and I guess you would also call those parts of the main assassination missions where you had to do things like tailing and eavesdropping. There is a little bit of eavesdropping, but it's been scaled back to be a lot more simple. It's literally just hide in this place, listen, and that'll be just part of the side quests, not like the bulk of it. And tailing is virtually gone. Like I have not run into a tailing mission yet, thank goodness, because I know that was one of the least favorite things. And those have since been replaced by kind of more complex side missions. There are things where it's like, go kill this person for me, but they're really complex because it's more like, hey, go complete this task and then kill that person. Like one I ran into was, this woman said, okay, this person stole these 3 heads from me. Go find the heads and then kill that guy. And so that was a really intricate side quest. And it's actually a lot of fun because it's so involved. It makes it more interesting. And then you get things like murder mysteries where you have to track down a murderer, obviously, or Nostradamus riddles where you try to figure out the answer to this trick. And even though they can take up a little bit more time, they're a lot more fun and a lot more thoughtful than some of the previous side missions have been.
Yeah, and there's side quests and all the other missions and stuff, and you could do all that with co-op buddies this time, right?
Yes, it's not every mission, not every side quest you can do is co-op, but they'll be specifically marked on the map which ones you can do. And you'll have a maximum of 4, a minimum of 1. So if you really just want to do it on your own, you can do that too. but you can also do it with, like I said, up to 4 friends, which can be really interesting because you're all customized differently according to how you've been leveling Arno up. So you'll benefit in different ways, and then you can work as a team and bring in all of your strengths together to accomplish this mission, which is really cool and really different for the Assassin's Creed universe, and they accomplished it really well.
One of the issues I was kind of running into with Assassin's Creed Unity, the loading screens were a little long for my taste. They kind of lingered on there for a little extra time. I don't know if you ran into that too. I did
run into that. One thing I appreciate about the loading screens didn't bug me too much. They are pretty long, but they generally happen between missions and not while you're actually running around the world. The world is seamless, so I appreciated that. But when you do run into them, they are kind of annoying. And I did run into a couple glitches, which for me, I mean, this might be to my taste. I actually, in some cases, I found them funnier than they were annoying. Like a guy reached out and pointed straight through Arno's chest. And I was just like, that's ridiculous, but funny. But there are a couple of occasions where you'll run into things like kind of weird AI, like AI who will see you and then forget you like an instant later, or will see you from like a mile away and be like, that guy, and continue to look for you. Which will mess up your missions. Like if you're like, okay, well, I want to go over here and do this now that I've escaped from that guy. That guy a mile away is still looking for you, so you're not anonymous yet and can't start any other missions. And that kind of stuff gets annoying. It doesn't feel completely polished,
right.
But I think overall you can get through it, and it'll depend on your level of tolerance for that kind of thing.
Yeah, one thing I think they did polish up a little bit was the free running. So before in other AC games, you'd accidentally run up a wall and then jump off of it and just screw up your whole path. But this time they kind of implemented this system where you have a high-low parkour system where if you hold the high button, you'll jump up. And you'll jump on walls and pretty much act like you used to in the previous games. But you could also hold the low button, which will prevent you from jumping up on anything or running and scaling any walls. So how did you feel about the free running stuff?
It actually took me a bit to get used to because I was used to those kind of janky controls. So I'd run up to a wall and expect to just run right up, and it's like, that didn't work. Why isn't this working? Oh, because it's better designed. That's why. So you do have a setup that makes it more controlled when you want to climb a wall. It's like, okay, I want to climb that wall, and it knows, yes, this is what I want to do. So that's better done. The free running, you don't just suddenly like juke to the right and just like jump off a roof. You don't run into that trouble. And then with the additional parkour they've added, it's easier to get off buildings without killing yourself, which is really appreciated.
And it looks pretty cool too, as he's like parkour jumping down the building. You couldn't really do that before. You kind of just leapt off of a building and
exactly.
That was it. So
that was really helpful.
Definitely. Last thing I think we should touch on is the combat. They've switched it around a little bit more. They've changed it so that it's not so easy to just take out a whole crowd of guards. Give us some details on the combat and what you think about it.
So I definitely was one of those players in previous AC games that spammed the counterattack button because it basically was an instant win mechanic. That's gone now. There's no more of that. Instead, your best bets are the parry and the dodge, which are helpful, but they're not guaranteed wins. And when you're getting attacked by like 6 guys at once, they realistically will all attack you at the same time, so you can get killed before you even counterattack sometimes parry because you put yourself in a bad position. So while fighting is possible and you can do it, it's actually smarter to avoid fights as much as you can because you're way better at running away than you are at fighting a mob of 20 people, which can get annoying if you're into that, but I think a lot of people found it completely unrealistic that previous Assassins could take out an entire mob of guards like that. So I think that's going to be overall an appreciated addition to this.
Cool. So what were your overall thoughts on the game, and what did we score it?
I think overall the game is a really solid addition to the series. There are a couple of issues with just some lack of polish, some lack of optimization that some people are going to find pretty annoying. But overall, it's a really solid title. It adds a lot to the series, and it gets rid of some things that people have hated for a long time. So overall, I think a very strong presentation, and it shows that the series can only get better from here. We scored Assassin's Creed Unity a 4 out of 5. For the full Assassin's Creed Unity review, check us out at GamesRadar.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel for even more reviews.